One of the great things about my job is that I get to meet new people every day, and every day someone comes in that surprises you. Young man.
Hello.
How are you?
You all right?
Yeah.
Ooh. I put my hat up there.
You are such a good boy.
Wow. It's
You've
nice
already
to use
made
them
my,
properly.
you've already made my day.
Well, I aim to please.
Thanks.
All right. Smash in.
Seated in the middle here.
Thank you.
And I will seamlessly just find the neck hole.
Ooh,
How are you in?
I've got a hat hair now.
Oh, that's this time of year, that's normal.
I think so. I'm all right. A little tired, but
Why are you tired?
we've been at the knitting and stitching show in, oh, I've got my glasses on still, let's take those off, at Ali Pali.
Ali Pali.
Ali Pali, that's what everybody calls it, Alexandra Palace.
Ali Pali.
Yeah.
I like that.
Horrific traffic. I don't know why I'm surprised.
In London, you say?
It's just unheard of, isn't it?
So how did you actually get on the sewing bee? Because this is something I've not.
Oh, okay.
Because all of a sudden one day you came. I was watching TV because I love the sewing bee. I always watch it, and I'm watching it, and you're on it. And I'm going, well, I know Mark. How did I not know he was on the sewing bee?
Did I not tell you?
No, you didn't.
Well,
You're very naughty.
we weren't allowed to say anything until.
You did very well.
Oh, thank you. People still come around saying that they'll be watching it still, and I asked them, said, you know, do I win this time? But
Actually watching your series, like.
Yeah, because I watched it again and again. Someone said I have on the sewing bee all the time when I'm sewing.
Yeah, we love it. We always watch it. We love it.
But it was my husband Clive that told me I was doing it.
Okay.
So he made me do it. Which, well, you know what he's like. But I'd been sewing only for a couple of years at the time. But he thought I should do it, and I wasn't really interested. And there is a bit of, because we're both men with beards and glasses, we're kind of, to a lot of people, we're kind of, who don't know us very well, interchangeable.
Okay.
You know, they're not sure which one's which quite often. So I was never sure whether they were telling me or Clive that we should go on the sewing bee.
Right.
And then one night Clive was tapping away and scrolling on his iPad endlessly while I was struggling through the one show. And he said, I'm just applying for you to go on the sewing bee. And I could have rolled my eyes. I thought, okay. But he couldn't answer all the questions. So he said, can we do them together? I said, okay then. So we answered a few questions, and at the end he said, so can I do it? And I describe it as my, you'll get the reference, my turn left moment.
Right, okay.
Do you know what I mean?
We're going to a Doctor Who moment here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So you're at a crossroads in your life, and you don't know it's a crossroads, you don't know it's significant, or that the decision you're making is important in the slightest. It's just another kind of, yeah, right. And that's what I said. I went, yeah, right. And if I'd said no, then hopefully he would have not done it, and I would have just plodded on with my life. So still working where I was and doing what I was doing.
So, question, why didn't he put himself forward for it?
Oh, he didn't qualify, and he's scared.
Okay, he's not here. So
no, he's not here.
Okay,
He'll be taking pictures of himself somewhere.
Okay,
it's
fine.
It's a bit of a hobby.
I'll like them on Instagram later.
He'll be with the graffitied wall somewhere, swishing his coat.
Good. I will enjoy that later. So that's really supportive of him, though, to sort of say, you know, you should do it, and because a lot of people don't do that in relationships. A lot of people kind of go, well, no, you need to stay where you are. So actually him kind of elevate you, really.
He's always done that, really. He thought I could do it. I wasn't so sure.
Okay.
And I was walking away thinking, well, no, they won't want me, you know, I haven't been sewing enough, I haven't got enough experience, I'm far too boring, you know, they won't want me on the telly. And then I thought about it more, and I thought, well, I am a man, and there probably aren't many men that apply, or far less than the ladies that apply, so that probably would get me on. But I kind of just forgot all about it. And then I had a phone call when we were ironically going off fabric shopping. And the next thing you know, you're in a warehouse in London surrounded by sewing machines and a film crew.
So you have to do like a test?
Yeah.
To prove that you can sew, I guess?
Yes, yeah, they did have somewhere between a run through and an audition,
right,
if you like, to test, you know, can we sew? Can we be on camera and talk and do the tasks we've got to do and not throw the towel in and stomp out or be naughty?
Right. Well, you know, that's going to fall flat if you're not allowed to be naughty. I mean,
Yeah, no, you can't be naughty.
so you said that was your kind of turn left moment.
Yes.
So you made the decision. You were on the sewing beat. Let's just say you won.
Which, frankly, I was robbed.
Absolutely robbed. So then what happened? Because obviously you know, you were in a very different place before that. So then what happened after that?
Well, I was working in the bank at the time, which I'd done for 20 odd years, or over 20 years. And it's a kind of, when you have those kind of corporate kind of things, you end up getting a bit institutionalised and kind of not sure you can do anything else.
I mean, that's something that a lot of people, when they come into the shop, a lot of people talk about that. You know, the kind of career change when you're 18 or 19 is not a big deal, but a career change when you're older is a very scary, what if I fail, what if I don't know where that happens, where people are, but it's definitely a thing, because a lot of people kind of say, oh, well, that's kind of what I do, and it's like, well, you don't have to. It's quite inspiring when people just suddenly have a career change. You find that people are suddenly like, oh, we shouldn't do it, and then when you do it, because obviously their own insecurities quite normally come to the surface, and then when you do it, suddenly you become inspirational, and you're kind of like, no, I've just done that.
I don't think many people go into things like the same before with a career plan and a game changer, you know, that it's kind of a fun thing to do.
So what happened when you say you'd handed your notice in, but what happened next? I mean, what do you go from there? Well,
initially nothing, because it was so we finished filming in the October. I'd gone off sick not long after that, and then I left by the end of the year. So I just worked somewhere else temporarily because the series hadn't gone out. You can't tell anybody about it, so nothing really happens. Although opportunities kind of did float my way by chance, which I took hold of. When things go wrong, sometimes my own fault.
but isn't, you know, I mean, many years ago I was in teaching, and when things go wrong, it's not the fact that it goes wrong, it's about how you deal with it and you know what you do. You know, it's.
Yeah, I was sewing over my pins, which is normally fine, but on this occasion it wasn't. It bent the needle in half and pushed it down into the machine, and the needle then snapped with a bit of a bang, and I ended up cutting myself and drawing blood, and I couldn't get the machine to function after that. All this on live telly. Luckily it was 10 minutes towards the end of the, well, 10 minutes is a lot in telly, but yeah, towards the end of the demonstration, so we had to talk about the rest of what I was going to do.
So you winged it?
I did, I winged it.
You know, you mentioned something about like your mental health when you're in your job, and has that, since you've moved away from your job into this new career, has that kind of surfaced again, or has that been? It
kind of doesn't go away. The first time I had that was in 2012, and it kind of came out of nowhere, and I needed to be shown what I was going through and what was happening.
Right.
And it was Clive that took me down to the doctors and helped me.
Clive's coming out of this very well.
He is, isn't he? Don't tell him.
Okay.
His head's big enough as it is. He's had to take the lining out of his hat to get it on. That's how big his head is. But then you think, when you get through that and you're back to work and you're kind of feeling more like yourself, you think, well, that's over and I've got through that, but it doesn't. And it kind of, after that, it kind of pops up from time to time, either work-related stress or when my mum died and other things. So it doesn't kind of go away. Still on the pills to kind of keep everything on an even keel, which I don't like at all, but it's the way it has to be.
When did your mum pass away?
Oh, it was, I know the answer to this one.
It's just on the top of my head.
It is on the top of it.
Like, are we talking like many years?
It's 2014. It's 2014. Come back to me now.
Okay.
Yeah. She was 7. No, she was 70. Just gone 71. Yeah. 2014.
Oh, she was young. Gosh. Okay.
Well, she passed away older than her mother, so she was happy about that.
Okay, like a competition.
Well, yeah.
Good on her.
Her mum was 68 when she died, and Mum thought that was far too young. She was kind of missed out on a lot of stuff. So Mum wanted to get past 68.
Right.
And she did.
And she did.
So she's happy with that.
Okay, good. Yeah, my father passed away a few years ago and he was 74 and I felt he was way too young. He got really ill, got cancer, got really ill very quickly and within a few months sort of passed away. And it's a weird thing, grief. I had a few friends pass away that were young, but having one of my parents pass away, and you probably feel the same, it's a really unusual feeling and it doesn't, you're different after it. You're not the same person. I remember saying to a guy, his father had passed away. I was actually in the chair cutting his hair and I said, when do you feel joy again? And he went, oh yeah. So I'm a year down the line and it's just coming back now, yeah, it's okay. So I've got no joy in me, it's like I'm a joyous person, I've got nothing, there's not even in my heart. And it was a really weird experience for me. My mother's still alive, she's much younger. She's 71.
Oh, blimey. She's
a young 71, but...
she had a sugar daddy.
Yeah, she'll be, yeah. But yeah, she was, I think she was 19 when she got married and my dad was about 25, 26, so yeah.
It kind of pops up again, doesn't it, when you don't expect it.
Yeah.
So when I left the Bee, and they do a little exit interview, so that they clear the studio, it's just me, the producer, a cameraman and a soundman, and that's it on set, and everyone's gone. And they're talking, asking you questions, and kind of reflecting on your time and what have you, and Mum came up, because we filmed that in 2019, so it'd been on 5 years at that point, so you think you were kind of settled into them not being there, but it kind of doesn't, and it kind of... So I was just sat there blubbing, sat on the end of my sewing machine, talking about Mum and how she hadn't seen any of it and all that stuff, but they said I was a beautiful crier, which is...
They like a cry moment, don't they?
They do. Of course, all of it went in.
Of course it did. Of course it did.
So I was doing 2 days at work, and I'd go straight from work. Clive would pick me up, take me to the train station, and he'd bring my case, and I'd go straight to London. And then the next day we'd be filming for 2 days, and then I'd come back and go back to work for the next 2 days, and it was like that for about 6 or 8 weeks. And I'd gone straight from a very, very long chat with my boss all afternoon and telling me how bad I was at my job.
Oh, really? Because that's always a really inspirational thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
You always feel better after that.
Yeah, oh, it's just awful. So I had all this mulling in my head. I hadn't had time to offload it to anybody, and it kind of all spilled over. In the green room, luckily, while I was there, but I was kind of in bits. But they paid for Clive to come down on the train, and they paid for him to stay in the hotel with me. So he was there to witness a little tiny bit of it. Yeah. But but they did look after me.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, it's important, I think, to have people supporting it, even if it's just one person in your life that really knows you, knows your soul. I think it's important to kind of have that. You need someone to have your back.
I think he probably knows you better than I know myself, really.
He's coming across like that.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
I think he maybe sees what you don't see in yourself. He sees the best part of you that maybe your self-doubt or insecurities, as we all have, don't come out, but I think he probably sees past that because he's not looking at that. He's looking at you.
Doesn't mean it's not annoying at times.
Well, I know him, so... And he's turning up in a red cape today.
I know.
So thinks he's really Superman,
Well, I want to do something like that, not quite so show-offy as that or multicoloured, but I want an Inverness cape, but I have an idea to make one out of boiled wool, so it's just a single, no lining, just a single thickness.
Nice. Well, it's the right time to do it.
It is. I need to crack on.
Yeah.
I need to crack on.
I said to the guys at Fargo that I was, for Halloween, I was going to wear a cape and come in as Jack the Ripper, and they emailed back and said, "Don't you do that every day?" And I went, "Yeah."
Sewing Bee isn't quite as high profile as things like Bake Off and a couple of others, so it's not a question of when you finish the phone starts ringing. Yeah, you've got to kind of look for it.
But what I like about it, and this is something I discussed with my wife, is that Bake Off, which I think originally wasn't going to be that format. I think it was Mel and Sue that were going to have people bitching. I may be wrong, but I think it was Mel and Sue that said, well, we don't want to do that, the original presenters, we want to do something positive in nature. And I think that set off a chain reaction, including Sewing Bee and the Pottery Throwdown and all those shows. and how supportive in nature, incredibly British. And I think it's something that's now had this kind of wave of stuff where people just love that kind of supportive, and they think, oh, that we want a bit of, we want a bit of grit in it, but actually the opposite is much, much better and much nicer. And I think it comes across nicer.
And it's positive in the filming as well. It is more or less what you see on the screen.
Yeah.
A distillation, of course, but.
Yeah. But that's all right. I think personally, I got invited to be on a show that I didn't know called. And
okay.
I had no idea, and they messaged me on Instagram and said, we'd really like to be on this show, and I was like, what show's that? So it was during the first lockdown, and so I said to my daughter, who was about 13 or 14, what is this? I don't know what it is. And she says, oh, you'd hate it. It's like a dating thing. And I was like...
At your age?
At my age. And so
But Cilla Black's dead. I mean, how can there be dating shows?
Exactly. And I said, I'm not really interested because I have children, so I'd want to be positive in nature, and this is negative in nature, and it's not really my thing. And I thought they'd say, well, no, actually, and, fight it. And they just went, fair enough. And I went, oh, okay, fair enough then. So what's next for you then? What's the next?
I've got a lot of shows booked. I've been doing a lot of shows, like the knitting and stitching and creative craft shows. So it's kind of shows were either designed for sewers of all kinds, either garments, quilting, whatever it might be. And I go there and teach and do talks and sell my sewing patterns and what have you, and all kinds of things. Just kind of taking the opportunities as they come along and working on things to keep working for myself. I'm a much better boss than anybody else I ever had.
You know yourself better than those people.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Oh, that's good. That's good. And I like the fact that, you don't feel like it's all set out in stone, but actually you're just going, well, I'm just gonna do this.
So I do a lot of talks as well, which is fun. So for like WIs and Quilters Guilds, and I don't know, whatever it might be.
What's WI?
The Women's Institute.
Oh, okay.
And all those kind of friendship circles, and talk about the being on the programme and me, and for want of a better word, the journey.
The journey, that's what it's all about these days, the journey.
Yeah. And it seems to go down very well.
Yeah.
And we hopefully have tea and cake afterwards.
Well, that's important.
Yeah.
Good cake. Can't be a good cake.
Well, one of them, at the very early on, I was going to do one, and it was then cancelled because of lockdown. So we did it on Zoom, but they still brought me over a cake.
Really?
I know.
I'm in the wrong trade, clearly. I'm annoyed by that.
Did no one bring you cake?
Well, actually, last year, so I like a mince pie at Christmas, and last year I actively put out that I really like mince pies, and every other person that came in the shop, to the point where there was a pile of boxes and people were coming in with her, and I was like, this is probably, and all the guys were laughing, going, yeah, you really overplay. I ate them all, to be fair.
I should hope it's beginning to show.
Well, yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. That's just my age. Well, I hope you keep putting out lots of positive vibes, mate, because it's obviously working for you, and we won't tell Clive how amazing.
Oh no, don't. No, he'll be appalling for the rest of the day.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm hoping he'll cook me dinner.
Yeah, well, let's keep that hope.
Yes. Even if it's heating something up in the microwave.
Hey, it's a dinner, innit?
It is.
Right. Well, bless you. Thanks for coming in, mate.
Pleasure. Thank you so much for your glorious action with the scissors.
Yeah, glorious. That's what I go for.
Glorious.
Glorious or Gloria.
And in a stunning waistcoat as well, and slacks.
You appreciate it. I actually wore this waistcoat especially for you.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, because I thought
Paul McGann.
It's a little bit Paul McGann, so I thought, oh, he'll appreciate that. So you got it as well. You got that. Actually, last night I was going, what can I wear? But what would Mark like if I was wearing it?
Well, the waistcoat I'm wearing that you can't see under this shroud is made of an old duvet.
Well, keep doing what you're doing, mate, because it's working.
I hope so. I hope so.
I think so. Thanks very much for coming in.
My pleasure.
Really appreciate it. Thanks for your time. I know you're really tired.
I am tired, but I've got to come and see you.
Bless your heart. I really appreciate it. Yeah, always good to see you, mate.
Thank you. Right, to the coat.
To the coat, which I did notice.
Did you notice it? Did you spot it?
I did notice it, yeah.
I need to make a better one.
So you made this as well?
I made this.
Amazing.
So we were doing a pattern drafting course, and it was all ladies, and they were all just doing dresses. I didn't want to do a dress because I can't wear it. Well, I could, but you know, it's not really my style. So I did a jacket, but then I was doing a jacket in season 12 style with all the baggy pockets and stuff. But I want to do it better because I've gone around the block a few times since then.
Yeah, good. Great to see you, Mark.
Thanks, Rob.
Take care, buddy.
Cheerio.
See ya.
Which some staff didn't like because they didn't like the thought of someone else going through the uniform. But it's not like I was...
Positive recycling, though.
It is. It's not like I was there sniffing the armpits or anything like that. You know, I was just after the hardware.
Yeah, and you sniff the armpits after.
Yeah.
Yeah.